How'd you like the movie?
I liked it quite a bit. This was just a very, very entertaining movie. I said a while ago, and this, I had to do an entire new outro for the last episode because it just, I don't know if we're relitigating that, but originally we selected this movie, and we selected a movie called Fantasies, directed by John Derek and starring his later wife, Bo Derek, and, it's fun to talk about what a creep John Derek is or was, but would have been a bit more fun to talk about that if Bo Derek were of age in the film that they made together, and apparently she wasn't, so that's why we're not doing that. But I did say this in the outro, and I think it got cut. So I stumbled upon this movie a long time ago when I was just kind of like researching, okay, who are the best action stars? This is when I really wanted to get into action movies. This might have been around the time I got my wisdom teeth pulled, because I know that was when I saw a lot of the Arnold movies for the first time, movies like Commando and The Running Man. So this might have been around that time, but I'm like, okay, Jason Statham, big action star. What movies has he done that are good? And this at the time was his highest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if it still is, but it was like 80%. So it's like a good score, but that's for an actor of note, that's a pretty weak highest rated movie, right? I mean, you can't even get him in a supporting part in something that's in the 90s. I don't know. And maybe that's changed since then. I don't know. Maybe the Meg 2 is like 97%. I don't know. But so I'm like, okay, this is a Jason Statham movie. I know Jason Statham. I kind of like him. Let me see this. And I liked it, but it was not really an action movie.
Hold on, by the way,
that's not a
the
complaint,
Meg 2 is 27% on Rotten Tomatoes.
All right, that's I don't know what I expected, but yeah. No, I like this movie, and I do like the Jason Statham persona. I think he's enjoyable even when the movies aren't that great, i.e. the Meg 2, maybe, he's probably still kind of enjoyable in that. He's a classic Hollywood tough guy, or in this case, London tough guy, because this is listed as a British, American, and Australian movie, so I guess there's Hollywood involvement. But no, I like the movie. The bank robbery plot itself is pretty good. I like that it has all these ties to historical the Princess Margaret stuff, and then also like the police corruption. Like it's a deeper story than you would think, on the surface level. Like there's more moving pieces, and I think that all makes it really entertaining, because if it were just a bank heist movie, it's like, I mean, heist movies, it's not my favorite genre, and I usually think the heist movies that I really like, I like for reasons that don't necessarily involve the heist, right? Mm-hmm. Ocean's 11, I think, is one of the greatest movies ever made, but that's awesome because of just the cast. You get George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Elliot Gould, I love in that movie. Like, everyone's just awesome in that movie. That's just a really, really fun, really entertaining movie. Ambulance, which we did last episode.
How dare you?
I know you didn't like it, but I liked it, and I did not like it for the bank robbery heist. I liked it for the drone shot action sequences, the car chases. The robbery itself wasn't the most interesting stuff in it, and that's kind of the case here, although I will say the bank robbery is more interesting than it is in Ambulance, because there's more details as to like how the actual robbery works. But this felt a little kind of Goodfellas-y. In you see like the unraveling post robbery, which I like that, when we see Bombas get killed and Guy, and then all these things that are affected by the robbery, all these things that come into play. And that's interesting. It's good for drama. There's not like, I wouldn't say there's like strong characters in this movie. I think the Jason Statham in the wife stuff is pretty lame, but I liked all the characters, as for what they were. Most of the actors I was completely unfamiliar with aside from Statham, so it was kind of nice to see people who, at least to me, are fresh, and I thought everyone was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought the team was like a fun heist team. They're not like the most fun. Again, it's not Ocean's 11, but everyone, they all had different personalities. They all brought something a little different to the table, and I like that. I like this movie. It's quite entertaining. It's not perfect. It's not one of the best movies ever. It may or may not be Jason Statham's best movie ever. That's not saying that much, maybe. But no, I did like it. I would see this again. And I appreciated, too, that, I don't know how to say this, but I like the sleazy 70s stuff. And I like that this movie didn't pull any punches in kind of depicting that. I thought this was, again, more so than I would have expected from a movie like this. It's just like, yeah, this guy runs a sleazy porno business where he also takes pictures of MPs in compromising positions, and they didn't shoot around that. They didn't shoot around Princess Margaret being a little slut with a bunch of people in the Caribbean. No, they like. I mean, I joke obviously, but no, this. I liked that this movie did not pull punches. It didn't. Direct in what it was in the crimes it was depicting, and I thought that was refreshing, especially because it was a sensitive story like this, a true story. A royal is involved. Like they easily could have done. They could have done more like what Sherlock did, or they don't really detail who's involved. But no, they did it, and I thought they did that well. Jim, what did you think of it?
I pretty much have to agree with you on all your points. I liked the characters possibly a little more than you did. I don't know. I just liked them. You know, I think they all played off each other well. The actors.
I agree with that, yeah.
I really enjoyed the character of Vogel, the porn king.
Okay.
Probably half because he was Hercule Poirot for like 20 years.
Okay.
Also, just because I liked him, I liked how kind of sleazy he was, and he was like an upscale sleazy kind of guy.
He's a British sleazy. It's not the same as American sleazy.
No, exactly, yeah. He was great. I also I liked like little touches of how, of having a guy play Lord Mountbatten.
I like that guy too. He had some kind of, I don't remember what his line was, but he had like kind of a joke when he saw the photos. He's just like, "Oh, these are rather compromising," or so he had some.
Yeah, or he was like, "Oh, he's like, oh, the princess, oh, his little devil," or something.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Statham was fine. I think Statham's pretty good in most
movies. He's good. I don't want to sound. Yeah, I don't want to sound negative. I mean, he's not the best actor in the world. But
yeah, that's for
good.
Sure. But yeah, he's totally serviceable.
And he's cool.
He is. He's got that cool voice.
He's got the cool voice, the cool accent. He's wearing the classic 70s kind of tweed coat, which always looks cool.
Tweed with turtleneck.
Yeah, a lot of turtleneck.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just really liked the plot. The heist was done well. It wasn't really, the bank robbery portion of the movie was maybe like half of the movie itself, but it never felt like drawn out or unnecessarily elongated like some heist movies are, where they're like, oh, we've got a real problem, we can't get into
I agree. They didn't spend any more or less time on the heist than they should have. They understood the heist is important enough to show all the details and all the kind of shifting stakes when the ham radio operator gets involved and everything, but they also understood that a great deal of what makes the story interesting is all the stuff that happens after.
Yeah, and I think the movie also did a really good job of constantly introducing new issues or raising the stakes.
Absolutely.
There's even a scene, we glossed over Statham's wife, as you mentioned, but there's a scene where they start playing all the recorded audio from the walkie-talkie conversations on the radio.
One of the kids recognizes his voice
she's like,
on the
Mommy,
radio.
Daddy's on the radio. And she's like, no, he isn't. And then she can hear him talking about robbing this bank. It's just stuff like that.
And it's like Jason Statham, like the most recognizable voice ever.
Yeah. But, I just really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a fun heist romp, I guess.
Romp?
I don't know.
It's a romp for Margaret. I don't know if it's a romp for anyone else.
I also really like the character of Michael X. And again, as we've already mentioned,
he was great. That actor was awesome. I actually wish we saw more of him. He wasn't a huge part of the movie. I mean, the story kind of revolves around him, but the actor itself, the character, wasn't in the movie that much. And again, probably was in it as much as he needed to be, but I just thought that actor, Peter DeJersey or whatever, I thought he was so entertaining. I would have liked to see him more.
I agree. But yeah, I thought it was a great movie. Much better than Ambulance. A much better...
Yeah, I was going to say, I could tell from your tone of voice that you liked this more than Ambulance. I may have too, but I would at least consider them close.